Bartsome Tavern!
I remember hanging 30 feet above the forest floor, wrapped in silk so tightly that every breath felt borrowed and every movement remained impossible. Moonlight caught the pale faces of the dead, swaying silently from the trees like forgotten ornaments. Some wore the pointed ears of elves, while others the heavy frames of orcs. Across from me, another man hung motionless. When the spider finally vanished into the canopy, he turned to me with empty eyes and asked me who he was. That was the moment I understood the creature haunting the Vordrorn Forest was feeding upon something far worse than flesh. The blooming season had just begun, drawing another wave of hopeful gatherers into the haunted depths of the forest in search of fortune. In Neverwinter, a renowned master perfumer paid fortunes for fresh night orchids. Noble houses competed relentlessly for every shipment, and those who encountered its exquisite fragrance often claimed they never forgot the woman who wore it. Master perfumers believed no other flower possessed quite the same qualities. A single successful harvest could change a person's life forever. None of us imagined it could also erase the life we already had. The three of us rented a single cramped room above a cooper's workshop in Neverwinter. Rain leaked through the roof, and supper rarely amounted to more than bread and thin onion stew. Every evening we planned the life we believed one successful harvest would finally buy us. The shortest route to the richest night orchid clearings led straight through those woods. Travelers spoke of ancient horrors lurking beneath its dead canopy, but stories have a way of growing darker with every telling. We convinced ourselves those tales were meant to frighten fools, not careful gatherers like us. We carried maps, climbing ropes, specimen jars, and everything we believed we needed to survive. Looking back now, every doomed expedition entered those woods believing exactly the same thing. The forest greeted us with an unsettling silence. No birds, no insects. Thick strands of webbing stretched between the dead trees. We ignored them. The abandoned camp should have turned us back. Everything remained exactly where they had left it, except the people. Night orchids appeared shortly afterward, blooming beneath the dead trees like scattered stars fallen from the heavens. Their black petals gleamed beneath the moonlight, while their sweet fragrance drifted through the mist. We had already found enough blossoms to earn more coin than any of us had ever possessed. We could have turned back then. Instead, believing the richest clearings still lay ahead, we pressed deeper into the forest. The next night, we discovered ruins hidden among the trees. Drow moved silently between broken walls while black-robed priestesses knelt among fields of night orchids. Hidden among the shadows, we watched a priestess call upon the Spider Queen. Then something answered. A voice rolled across the clearing like distant thunder, ancient beyond words. Every drow lowered their heads. For one terrible moment, I believed we were witnessing a god. We chose a different route through the forest. We could not have been more mistaken. Unseen strands of impossibly fine webbing stretched between the trees. One by one, we walked straight through them. The forest had already sensed us. Rowan laughed as he tucked another orchid into his satchel, while Harlan joked we had already earned enough to retire. Silk erupted from every direction, wrapping around my companions before they could draw their knives. One moment we were discussing the journey home. The next, terrified screams echoed through the trees as enormous shapes raced through the canopy above. I caught only a fleeting glimpse of something impossibly vast descending between the branches before a crushing impact hurled me into darkness. When I awoke, I hung within a cocoon. Days passed before I understood my situation. My body lay imprisoned within layers of silk, while dozens of other captives hung between the dead branches like grotesque fruit. Whispers and quiet sobs filled the night. Some prisoners had already stopped making either. At night, my companions sometimes called my name through the darkness simply to know I was still there. Near the end, one of them called out again, but could no longer remember what to call me. The first Ettercap arrived shortly after dawn. The creature walked upright, yet every movement reminded me of a spider. Its swollen abdomen dragged across the ground, while wet mandibles clicked continuously beneath clusters of dark eyes. Its appearance was horrifying, but its behavior terrified me far more. The Ettercap carried a crude wooden bowl filled with foul-smelling liquid and moved methodically from cocoon to cocoon, forcing each prisoner to drink. When it reached me, one claw gripped my jaw while another tilted the bowl against my lips. The taste was indescribable, a mixture of rot, mold, spoiled mushrooms, and stagnant water that immediately triggered violent retching. The creature patiently waited for me to finish vomiting before forcing me to drink more. Over time, I realized the Ettercaps were not tormenting us, they were preserving us. The spider wanted living prey. Several nights later, the webs began vibrating. Every captive immediately fell silent. Even the Ettercaps retreated into the darkness. For the first time, I saw the spider clearly. The creature dwarfed anything I had ever encountered. Its hollow eye sockets resembled empty graves carved into a monstrous skull, while black mist drifted constantly from fangs longer than swords. The stench of decay coated the back of my throat with every breath. The spider drifted toward a nearby cocoon. The man inside had spent days speaking of the daughter waiting for him at home. The creature began to feed, and black mist seeped into his skull. His screams followed it into the darkness. First, he forgot his daughter's face, then her name. After another feeding, he simply stared into the darkness with empty eyes. Soon the spider began coming for me. Each time it left, I wondered what it had taken, and how long before I became like the man across from me. The day I could no longer picture one of my own companions, I knew it had already begun. My escape came not through courage, but through chance. A violent storm swept across the Vordrorn Forest, bending ancient pines until one finally snapped beneath the weight of my cocoon. The impact shattered enough silk for me to tear myself free. And broken, bleeding, and barely conscious, I crawled through mud and tangled roots while thunder drowned the sounds of the nursery behind me. Before I crossed the edge of the forest, I looked back one last time. High above the night orchids, the wraith spider rested between my companions' cocoons, one immense leg tapping slowly against the silk as it watched me cross beyond the forest's edge. It made no attempt to follow, as though it knew I had only one path left to take. Perhaps it was simply waiting for me to forget enough to wander back into my cocoon. Weeks later, I reached Neverwinter carrying no flowers, no fortune, and little proof of what I had witnessed. The master perfumer listened politely before hiring another gathering expedition. Merchants continued buying night orchids, and noble houses continued wearing perfumes distilled from their petals, while perfumers endlessly refined their recipes, searching for ever more exquisite fragrances. Life carried on as though the Vordrorn Forest had claimed no one at all. I reported my companions missing to the city watch. When the guard asked where we had last been together, I opened my mouth to answer and found nothing. I remembered losing them. I could no longer remember where. Years have passed, yet the spider has never truly released me. Harlan's voice has grown faint. Rowan's face fades whenever I try to picture him. Some days I cannot even remember why we entered the forest at all. On the temple steps, Black Bloom found me first, and Vordrorn Forest came rushing back in the scent. Around me, the whispers began. She's the one who came back. Poor thing. Don't upset her. This morning, the smell of onion stew carried me back beneath the web-filled canopy. Rot, mold, spoiled mushrooms. The Ettercaps' foul broth. Then the memory vanished. Or perhaps I had simply forgotten what onion stew was supposed to smell like. Several days ago, I overheard a group of gatherers speaking of the fortune to be made from night orchids. And for reasons I still cannot explain, part of me wondered whether I should go with them. Several days ago, I stood upon Neverwinter's walls and watched another gathering party disappear toward the Vordrorn Forest, laughing exactly as we once had. And deep within Vordrorn, something still hungered. The blooming season had only just begun.